First of all, I'd like to say thanks to Colonel Milstead and everybody in the DPS and law enforcement that has been supportive throughout this. It's overwhelming to say the least. I would like to personally thank the media for their professionalism throughout this and respecting my desire to initially stay anonymous. It has been helpful. Some people might wonder and ask why I'm coming forward now, initially wishing to be anonymous. To that I say it's part of my healing process and moving forward and coming to grips with that incident Thursday morning. I know there was some question about any type of law enforcement or military training that I might have had, and I can say that I've had no such training. I do, though, feel that it's a right and a privilege to be a private gun owner, and with that right and privilege comes a great responsibility, not only for myself, but to those around me. So I have taken the time to make sure several times a year to go out and practice those safety techniques to make sure that I'm always responsible. From this point forward, I know that people will look into my past. I do have a past, just like everyone else does. And I would ask that people remember that those moments of poor judgment have not dictated my future, nor represent the person that I am here today. That morning, I never would have dreamt that I was going to save somebody's life, let alone take the life of another individual. It is something that will stick with me. As I was coming up onto the scene, slowing down, I can see Trooper Andersson's lights on and the flares in the road. As I proceeded to go forward, I noticed the suspect on top of Trooper Andersson, beating him in a savage way. I immediately pulled over, responded to Trooper Andersson. My commands were ignored by the suspect as Trooper Andersson called out for help. And I alleviated the threat to him. I firmly believe that that morning I was put there, as Colonel Milstead said before, by God. It's difficult to think about that day still. I am just thankful that I was able to respond with the courage, dignity, grace, and poise that ultimately saved Trooper Andersson's life. Moving forward, I ask the media continue to handle themselves in a professional manner and respect my wishes and not to contact me directly for any further information. If you wish to talk to me further, I ask that you go through the proper channels at DPS that have been helping me through this. This tragedy, and it was, has affected a lot of people, a lot of lives. Trooper Andersson, his family, my family, me. I don't want to exasperate the pain that was felt that morning. And I'd like everybody the opportunity to move forward and have their chance to heal. I will take a couple questions if anybody has any at this time.
Take us through the afternoon, that morning, from getting out of your car, what you were thinking.
To be honest with you, it was very visceral and instinctive. I had to help. I knew I had to help. So there wasn't an option for me. It wasn't until after, and you have that moment to think about your actions, that those emotions start to flood in. Again, at the time, my primary concern was for the life and welfare of Trooper Andersson, first and foremost, and putting an end to what was occurring to him. It's who I am. I can't arbitrarily stand by and watch a tragedy like that unfold without doing what I can to intervene and stop it. To me, there was no choice. There was no opportunity or chance for me to think about it rationally within my mind. I responded the only way I know how to respond, and that's to act. And again,
Close to this in your life before? Anytime you've taken an action?
nothing like this.
Did you fear for your own life as you're coming up on a scene, not secure, not knowing who's shooting at who, and I would imagine it's really dark and
In all honesty, I don't recall any thought or feeling of fear. Again, it happened very quickly. And in that moment, there wasn't necessarily a time for me to react or logically think it out. It was, I need to help him. And I did. I responded. So my reaction to that is I don't consider myself a hero. In all honesty, the heroes that day were the first responders who offered aid and comfort to Trooper Andersson. All members of law enforcement that were there on the scene assisting and on a daily basis. Those are the heroes, and they always will be. I'm an ordinary person. I go to work. I do photography. I hang out with my friends and family. I read. I was put in extraordinary circumstances, and I may have acted heroically, but I don't consider myself a hero at all.
can you talk about what you're thinking, how you're feeling now that it's been a couple of weeks and you've had time to digest it?
It's been helpful to talk to others that have been in similar situations, to find that support from my pastor as well. It comes in waves. It's the best way I can describe it. You replay the moments through your mind, and they're almost like chapters of a DVD. You just get to watch one segment over and over again. And it hurts. You know, I wouldn't expect anybody else to be affected any differently than I am, although I can't speak for anybody else personally. And it's going to take some time. Again, understanding that I did save somebody's life that morning, but I had to take somebody else's life in the process, and it's difficult to reconcile.
A lot of people are impressed by the way you handle it. You say you have no experience in the military or law enforcement, yet you take a couple shots in the dark and you accurately hit the suspect. What is your background in it?
And again, I have no formal training. And again, I'll emphasize the fact that I feel as being a private gun owner, it's a responsibility, and one that should be taken seriously. So again, I make the effort to go out and practice and shoot with friends who are better than I am, have that experience, and it's not unlike a group of friends getting together for a game of golf or a round of cricket at a pub. You go out and you do what you enjoy. I've never felt that being a gun owner should be stigmatized.
What type of weapon?
It's
I guess a weekend golf guy would probably be really scared of the Phoenix Open. You also got out of your car the first time without your weapon. I mean, were you thinking tactically? I guess without getting specifically, were you thinking tactically that day?
I'll let you answer that, Colonel Wilson, if you'd like.
Just real quick, we kind of cleaned that up last week. He actually removed the gun from the car when he got out on the first occasion. So that original story was inaccurate.
Had you had practice? Had you tactical practice?
I wouldn't call it tactical practice. Again, going out and shooting in an enclosed range or out in the desert in a area that's designated for shooting. Again, we take it seriously. We're not out there to joke around or horse around, and that's what we do.
So I kind of gave Thomas my word that we would keep this short for his own. Is there anything else you want to say, or you're good?
The gentleman in the blue hat has been very patient, so I would like to let him have a moment.
You've been affected by this tremendously, like anybody else would. Would you do this again?
Yes, I would.
And why?
I've thought about that. I've actually had that conversation with my pastor. Again, I don't know any other way to be. I've been called a couple different things by my friends, as far as, you've always been the protector, the defender, and I couldn't comment on that any further as how true it is. But I just know that doing the right thing sometimes has a price, and that price is severe. This is something that I will live with, but I wouldn't change it because another man got to go home to his family, and his family gets to keep him for a little while longer, and that's the important part. So yes, placed in a similar situation, I would not hesitate to respond exactly in the same fashion.